default device instead of my audio interface. Let's see if that fixes it. Talk some more, Bobby, here.
Hello, how is everybody doing tonight?
Well, the meter went up. Are you all hearing it?
Yeah, hopefully that has worked for you guys. If the meter in OBS is saying it, then I bet you it's fixed. You guys, of course, tell us if we're wrong. We'll fix it live. Success!
Yes. Huh.
All right. You didn't miss anything important. I was basically just telling you guys how much fun we're gonna have tonight.
Right. And excellent. So, what do you want us to stat up? We're going to. A troll possessed by a bug spirit is not really in line with the vehicle and drone design concept that we have, but it does sound fun, and I've done it before.
Yeah, I guess that might be what they missed. I think I was the one telling everybody that we're doing vehicle and drone design.
Okay, right. So
we're creating and customizing vehicles and drones, kind of rigger stuff tonight. So and I think I had said that I'm very unfamiliar with this, so I'm going to be learning a lot tonight too. So that's what we're looking for. What do you guys want to do? The atypical roto drone, Big Cave Monster says.
Okay. How about we start with that? It'll be something we can knock out pretty quickly, I think. But what's going to be atypical about a roto drone?
Roto drones are rotary drones. They're helicopter drones. What's atypical about one?
Well, I used to always picture roto drones, the classic Shadowrun art, as being kind of like almost like a Dalek-shaped thing with, like a cylinder with a single rotor up on the top, right? With a gun sticking out the bottom. But I think with the advent of how drone technology has gone recently, I think picturing something more like quadrocopters would make sense, and could just as easily have the same stats as the rotodrone look. So let's maybe think of our rotodrone as a quadrocopter design. What is it designed to do, though? Omar had suggested first responder drone. Well, the thing about these drones is they are fast and capable combat drones to some degree, except to the point where a light pistol or someone chucking a shuriken is likely to take it out in one or two shots.
Yeah. So is it possible, since we're working on customizing, and like I said, I don't know a lot about vehicles and drones, so I'm a really good kind of sounding platform for this stuff, because I can ask a lot of questions. So is it possible to if that's what we're wanting to think about, like this specific thing, is it possible to armor it up well enough?
There is the drone from which book was it? It was one of the e-fiction books, the Bumblebee, which is essentially a variation on the rotodrone with a fairly good amount of armor and its own built-in medium machine gun. So that's an easy one to think of as a quick first response drone, but there's not really much to put together atypical about that. It's pretty well customized. You've got a rotodrone with a big ass machine gun on it, and it's pretty much ready to go right out the gate. It's actually an incredible value, both from availability and new yen cost, compared to buying a regular rotodrone and trying to get the machine gun and the heavy weapon mount.
Well, when we say a first responder in the first place, what does that mean to us? First responder, are they just coming in, checking out the situation, and then figuring out what's going on, or what?
I think first responder would be some sort of an alert has been set, and these drones are the first ones sent in to ascertain what's going on and probably have some way of striking against the threat, right? So
right. Sort of like your frontline security guards who are there to figure out what's going on, hold them off long enough for backup to show up.
Like, I could imagine in a AAA or even some AA areas having essentially drone pods just built in the sides of buildings or hidden into the infrastructure here and there, that you could, within a combat turn of someone setting off an alarm, have drones with machine guns right there ready to respond to the situation. And they could hopefully hold them off or keep eyes on them until the high threat response, the nearby patrol vehicles, can step in and finish off the threat or apprehend them.
Yeah. So I guess going back to, so it seems like the biggest weakness in a combat situation for rotodrones is going to be that they won't last long. Is that a problem though?
I think for a security force that has a big cushy security contract to protect the city, you can afford to have drones that might be shot down. So I think let's maybe just go with the Bumblebee design, because that's a great first responder drone, and see what we can do to make that a little bit customized, I guess.
So the other thing that I think of with when I hear first responder is being being versatile enough to be able to handle different situations. So not just combat situations, but if somebody's injured, do you think that how much can you pack into a small rotodrone?
Well, that's the thing. When as far as modifying drones or vehicles in Shadowrun 5th Edition and Rigor 5, vehicles have a very wide range of stuff that you can add in, and lots of points. You basically have the vehicle's body as a pool of points, but then you have that number of points available in a bunch of different categories. Weaponry, defenses, I forget the exact titles off the top of my head, but with drones, you just have one pool of points to work from. And everything gets pulled from that except for what's classified as software upgrades, which does include the pilot increase.
Right. And so a rotodrone being smaller, what you're saying is you got a tight window to work with in terms of customizations and add-ons.
Well, here, I'm going to pop up Hero Lab and just kind of create let's see, I think I can bring it up on the screen by pressing this button.
Now, while we're doing some of this stuff, by the way, and stuff, feel free to throw out questions that you think of, guys, because we like to do, on the fly Q&A. If you have any questions, this is interactive here. We want to talk to you guys a bunch, so feel free to add things to the discussion, but also to ask questions about anything. I should make it so that I can see the stream too, so I can see what you're doing.
Yeah, so check this out. The Bumblebee, it doesn't show up in that screen. I'm going to go here. The Federated Boeing Bumblebee is a incredible bargain. It's 12F, which means you could get it at character creation. 24 grand, includes a heavy mount as well as a big-ass machine gun. I think it includes a machine gun. Instead of a regular rotodrone, you've got, how much armor? Where do I see that? Sorry. Oh, 14 points of armor. And that's vehicle armor, which means if it gets hit with something where the damage after AP is less than 14, it's just going to bounce off. Unless it's electrical damage, of course, which drones don't like so much.
Right.
So yeah, what you're seeing on screen is I've got Hero Lab open.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead.
I was about to say what you're saying right now. Go for it.
Yeah, so I've got the main window of Hero Lab open. Unfortunately, when I open up some of the sub windows, it doesn't show for you. I'm also looking here, and I'm not seeing the machine gun. I thought the drone comes with the medium machine gun as well. I'm going to go ahead and look that up in the book real quick.
While you're doing that, Amarda asked, what would be a good way to subtly boost the durability of drones from like a house rules perspective? That's a good thing to kind of hash on while you're pulling up some stuff.
Off the top of my head, make vehicle armor work like hardened armor, so that not only does it bounce stuff that doesn't get high enough damage to overcome the armor rating, you also get one auto hit on your damage resistance test for every 2 points. I actually was doing that for years, and I didn't realize I was wrong until someone pointed it out, and I'm like, I like it that way anyway.
So now you do it, huh?
Unless I'm, running for official Shadowrun missions or something, then I don't get to use my house rules. But yeah, that's one of my Kind of just subtle house rules that I threw in just by accidentally reading the rules wrong.
Yeah, it makes a big difference too, getting those automatic hits on when you treat it like hardened armor. Eric asks an unrelated question, which is, do we have any run name ideas for Christmas runs that are ironic or funny? The run is to steal some anti-radiation meds. I'll have to think on that while we're...
Well, I was going down the road of thinking of the word slay. Using that a couple different ways before you brought up anti-radiation meds, but so I don't really know what to do with that. Which book is this in? I suppose it'll tell me in Hero Lab if I look at it.
Yep, sure will.
But I don't see where it says that. Nuts.
So I'm looking for the notes for this thing we're doing, and I don't find them. Have you put a link in the chat?
I have not yet. Let me do that.
I didn't see one in the chat, so I was looking for it, but I couldn't find the document. I don't know if my... Oh, jeez. Stick and Shock. Lord K's right. Stick and Shock is good against drones. You're right. That's like I learned that. That's the good way to deal with drones and stuff.
Yeah, the -5 AP is nasty for drones, and it just always counts as physical damage. And the whole... I think it bypasses the whole hardened armor sort of thing, but I might be making that up.
Yeah. Some people call the Shadowrun rules complicated.
And also, when you've played different editions over the years, sometimes you bring in concepts from earlier editions that aren't necessarily part of the current edition you've been playing.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got the link here. I'll post it into the Twitch chat. That's for reviewing the document. And Bobby, how do I make it so that you can edit it?
You would have to... Don't worry about that. I don't need to edit it, because you'd have to... Well, if you know my email address off the top of your head, all you have to do is go into the sharing options, send a share thing to me. Don't worry about it. It's too many steps.
All right.
Classic Christmas song names is good. I was trying to think of some Christmassy sounding way to include Geiger counter. Radiation meds. I don't know.
Okay, it appears nothing personal. Now I can check the source. Oh, okay, no, here we go. In Hero Lab, it says, in the notes, you will need to add the following for free once you add this vehicle. Stunner Ares M202 machine gun in an auto sought for it. So, I just missed that notice before. That's why it's not in here, but should be. So, yes, it does come with a free machine gun. And someone mentioned stick and shock ammo. That would be great for a first response drone, too, because if you accidentally shoot up a bunch of shoppers or something... they'll probably get back up again afterwards.
Yeah.
But we could always swap the M202 out for a different one. Maybe that's what's going to make this one atypical. How about we go with some different weapon ideas? What should we put on these things instead of a meaty machine gun?
Well, so switching, well, I see. My first instinct was to do that. I had said about, what if the first response drone encounters like injured people instead in some sort of crisis situation. Maybe putting on some ability to help them out by switching out the gun. But then you don't want it to not be able to handle itself if it has to, lay down fire to hold people off until, an HTR team shows up.
I think a ground-based drone is probably better for medical response. Let's make that one up next.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
But for this drone, it's going to show up and get people on camera and shoot them, right? So Lord K says assault cannon. That seems a little bit extreme and a little bit dangerous because people are going to shoot down these drones and then they're going to recover what they're armed with. I think an assault cannon is maybe something we don't want to have falling into the Shadowrunner's hands quite so easily. But a squirt gun loaded with narrow stun.
Neurostun seems pretty extreme. So if we're thinking of this in like an urban city environment, people might be concerned about accidentally neurostunning like bystanders.
Well, what about a grenade launcher with flashbangs?
That's what I was thinking is you could have a grenade launcher with some other type of crowd control type grenades in it, like smoke grenades or flashbangs. I think are okay because
right, and they're officially non-lethal.
Yeah, if they accidentally land next to somebody who happens to be in the wrong place, then well, sorry.
Okay, another question: is it for firefighters or police or military? So yeah, we have to decide: is this a combat drone, or is this designed to respond to some other sort of threat?
I mean, I feel like we're leaning towards combat, but we're kind of like the way we've been classifying it is almost just. I guess you kind of have to think about it that way. So
yeah, let's think of it as a combat drone because it's got we're picking a chassis that has a bunch of armor, right?
Right. So good question, Lord K. I guess you could have like a trio. You know how first responders are actually, usually police, fire, and ambulance and stuff like that. I guess you could have like a trio of them if you really wanted to go all out with like a how you would handle a first response situation. But
let's pick something and move on here.
Yeah, let's do combat. We're playing Shadowrun. Combat makes sense.
I'm going to deal with an Armtech MGL-12. It's a grenade launcher that has a 12-round clip.
Nice.
And we're going to give it some grenades. It's going to be flashbangs.
Flashbangs.
Yep, a dozen flashbangs in the can.
Flashbangs are some nice grenades. I always love those things.
Yeah, they do 10S with AP -4.
Yeah.
And it's a 10-meter radius explosion that does not diminish as you get further from the epicenter until you get all the way out of the 10-meter range.
That's why I love using them as an area, like a grenade as a GM, because I've got so many other things that I want to do. I don't have to worry about drop off and with the explosion radius and everything. It's just like if you're in the radius, you get the 10 stun. Makes things simpler. There's already so many things I'm going to be tracking.
And we're going to call this the flash fire drone.
Yeah.
And Bobby, I liked your idea of a first responder drone that can render medical assistance. Let's do another one for firefighting as well.
Yeah. So the the squirt gun was a good idea for that. Amarta even makes the point that it could be used for fire suppression.
Does it really squirt out enough to make a difference for that? I thought it just squirts out like streams that have dimethyl sulfoxide, which makes any drug inside of it affect you on contact unless you have ChemSeal.
I don't know. Is there a in the game a gun that acts like a fire extinguisher?
I wonder if there's a vehicle mod or something that would work for that.
Yeah.
The medical drone, I think, is I think for that it would make sense to start with an Evo Proletarian drone. Are you familiar with those, Bobby?
I am not. No. What makes those different?
They're in Rigor 5. It's a ground-based drone that comes with a drone arm.
Oh, interesting. So it could you could have like injectors on there or something.
Yeah, availability 6, only 4 grand. It's got a drone arm with strength 4 and agility 2. It starts with a skill set for auto mechanic and basically like a toolkit in an autosoft for that, but you can change it out for different skills if you want, and these things are only 4 grand a piece. If you were to get something running with an upgraded pilot program, or maybe running off an RCC, running higher grade autosofts, these things are really handy drones to help out with any of your technical skills during downtime in particular. So if you want to make your own hand load ammo, or kit one out for demolitions, those things can work pretty well. Otherwise, the Evo Proletarian, I think, could be a really handy medical response drone.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
They're fairly small, so you can pack one into a little drone launch spot. The problem is they only got a pilot rating of 2.
Well, you know, they just need to get out there and stick somebody.
You're going to want to give them a med kit of some kind.
Sure.
Right, and an auto soft for medical response. So they don't really need any particular skill for maneuvering. Hold fast adhesive spray. I love that.
Amarda's got lots of got an agenda for the squirt gun, is what I think's going on.
All right, well, let's see what we can do with this thing after we get the... I'm trying to find the pilot upgrade in here. I know you guys can't see this window. I might be looking in the wrong place.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, pop-up
the drone.
windows.
Maybe I... So I can add cyber programs in this section. Oh, here we go. Pilot program. So we can go up to a pilot rating of 4 for 3,200 new yen, availability 12. That I don't think that's too over the top for a security response drone that's designed to provide immediate medical aid. So I've upgraded the pilot to rating 4. Its body and armor is, it's pretty low. If anyone actually tries to shoot this thing, they're going to destroy it fairly easily. The other weakness I didn't point out for drones is that their condition monitor is 6 points plus half their body rounded up, as opposed to people that get 8 plus half their body rounded up, or vehicles that get 12 points plus half their body rounded up. So with drones starting out with fewer points there, that makes them even easier to knock out, and it's difficult to think of a way to compensate for that. Okay, so this thing has a body of 2. Unfortunately, with the starting stuff with the drone arm, that uses up all of its available mod points. No, I have 1 available mod point. Can I fit any sort of weapon in there? I can do a drone weapon mount mini. A mini can fit a holdout pistol or a light pistol. Reach 0 melee weapons or a single shot grenade. I think, is there a squirt pistol?
I feel like the squirt gun is a pistol. I mean, I don't know if that's true.
Let's go ahead and give it a mini weapon mount and see what we can squeeze into there. The net gun is definitely going to be too big, I'm afraid. But that's a good suggestion. Yeah, net guns are fun. I kind of like the idea of rotor drones with net guns now.
Yeah, it's kind of making me rethink what we did with the first one.
Well, there's nothing that says we can't just pop in another one and change it out and put a net gun in.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What we did forget to do with the first one was any sort of auto-soft stuff. So these are meant drones that are meant to be, deployed kind of automatically in response to a security alarm response. So they're going to want to be able to run on their own auto-soft instead of having to use Rigger's RCC. Though I could imagine a Lone Star Rigger picking them up and taking control of them and directing them with an RCC. If the runners don't get out of there in time.
Sure, yeah. But that's a excellent point. Like off the shelf, you would want them to be built with something like that. It would make sense.
So the Ares S3 Super Squirt uses light pistol ranges. It's a special weapon, but I don't see any reason why we can't just count it in a light pistol size slot. So let's add that.
Yeah. This is the GM workshop. You're the GM. You can do it if you want.
Sure. If a player wanted to do it, I might think about it a little bit harder, but it'd probably let it go. I mean, you get 20 shots of a particular drug with a squirt gun.
I mean, I've always imagined it as a light pistol anyway.
Yeah, so this drone has an arm that has a toolkit in it. It says automotive mechanic, but we're really going to change it to med kit. And a med kit rating 3 I think makes sense, because bigger than that is going to be like a bigger bag or a backpack, right?
Yeah.
So I just changed the text on there without bothering to do anything else fancy. Just, it's got a drone arm that's got a med kit built into it. It can run out, and it's going to need an auto soft. It's already got an auto soft. No, it does not. Sorry, that's just the pilot rating that I added. So the nice thing about auto softs, right, is you can pick any. You can just pick a skill set, like a non-melee active skill is one of the things I can put in here. If a drone is running its own autosoft, it can only run a rating up to what its pilot rating is. And since we upgraded the pilot rating to a 4, it can do a rating 4 autosoft that I'll have to specify the name for. Right now it just says skill set. And the skill set is going to be I select an active skill, and that's going to be first aid. And that makes that drone pretty good at first aid. Because we got a pilot rating of 4, right? And then the first aid skill of 4, and then it's got a med kit rating 3 built in that, if it makes that wirelessly active, why wouldn't it? This thing's rolling 11 dice. It's a reasonable shot at stabilizing someone who's down for the count or restoring a few points.
Dice is nothing to sneeze at with a automatic little drone guy.
Or it could very easily assist a medic that happens to be on hand with a teamwork test.
Yeah, exactly.
The other autosoft that we're going to give it is a targeting autosoft for its squirt gun. And that's a little bit of a surprise defense system, right? If someone's being a little bit too rowdy, at least they can do something about it, maybe. And it'll have 8 dice to use it, as it can run an autosoft up to rating 4. And the last thing we need to decide is what drug do we want to have in the squirt gun. Amarda, you seem to have ideas for that. Do we want just to consider it a delivery system for hold-fast adhesive spray? I could see using the same rules for a squirt gun for that. That might be fun. Otherwise, some other drug designed to make people less dangerous or make them calm down, or
Yeah. If you're gonna go with a drug, that is what I would think of would be useful for a first aid type drone, is to calm somebody. So what kind of drugs do that? Let's see, drugs. I'm looking it up. Drugs.
or toxins.
That's true. Mm.
Here we go. Dread, a cocktail of psychedelic and panic-inducing drugs.
I think
Disorientation and panic. That sounds fun.
we could just put bliss in it.
That sounds like something a ganger would do. Bliss or dread.
Yeah.
Bliss in some, dread in others. Just go out and randomly spray people.
Pharmaceuticals sounds probably more legit. Let's see, but there aren't very many of them, aren't there? Are there? You could have something that counteracts the effects of nausea.
That could be handy for some situations, but
I feel like calming people down would be more useful in general.
I mean, we could always just go with Narcoject.
Yeah, it's true. I like it.
Because that has a power 15. They roll body plus willpower, plus any chemical defense they might have, unless they have Chem Seal. However many hits they get, that takes away from 15, and the effect is stun damage. So, it's fairly inexpensive.
Yeah, you can think about that as being able to be easily used offensively, or as like a treatment protocol, to sedate someone.
Sure, if you got someone who's just going nuts and berserk, you can take them down with that. Unless the high threat response guys get there first, in which case they'll just fill them full of lead.
Yeah. so the first aid drone's goal is to get them on the ground so that they don't get full of lead. So Narcoject is great. Pepper Punch. Skype screen says Pepper Punch is a calming agent now.
Pepper Punch, yes. Okay, what should we call this one? We'll give it a name of some kind.
Let's see. Dr. Robot. Anybody who's listening may not be familiar with the fact Cliff is that I am terrible at coming up with names. So you guys, what kind of a name do you like for this drone? Dr. Night Night, where the Skype screen says where the first night is without a K and second one is with a K.
I like it. It's an Ares variant for KE. Yep, Dr. Night Night. Perfect.
Skype screens is the winner.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to this, the Flash Fire, which is the flashbang launching high threat response drone. And we're going to go into the Matrix tab here and make sure we add some auto sauce for it. But first of all, what is the pilot rating? It is a pilot rating of 3. So it's going to be able to run only 2 auto softs, probably piloting and targeting. And because it's only shooting flashbangs that just have to get kind of in the vicinity of who they want to target, we're okay with only throwing 6 dice. It'll scatter and still hit them.
Yeah, the worst that'll happen is it'll scatter like, how many meters away? Like 3?
I think 3d6 minus hits for that kind of launcher. So yeah, it can scatter a fair bit, but whatever.
Like
it's got like
away.
Yeah, it's got 11 grenades or after the first one it shoots, so you can even fire them semi-auto, which is kind of scary.
And if you're within 18 meters of a situation where this thing needs to be, then you probably shouldn't be. So you should run away.
So I've added a maneuvering auto soft of 3 and a targeting auto soft, also rating 3. And of course in Hero Lab you have to specify what it's for. I don't know why this one is still showing up red.
Oh well, that's what happens all the time in Hero Lab. You spend half your time figuring out why the quality you just bought is still red. It should tell you at the bottom. Well, it's going to tell you. It might not be telling you. It might be telling you something else.
I really don't like how, for the weapon, the targeting, I have to pick it from this giant scrolling drop-down menu from all possible weapons. I mean, I've got one installed on the thing. Why can't you just bring up the one I have? Sorry, I'm bitching at Hero Lab here.
Come on, Hero Lab people.
There we go. Armtech MGL12. So, there we go. Now that one's proper. And I think what I can do is I can make a copy of this one, and we're going to give it a net gun instead. And that should be pretty easy. The thing is, we're going to want something that's going to have maybe a bit higher dice pool than 6 for a net gun, so maybe we'll upgrade the pilot rating. Let's see if I can...
Man, I really want to send a squadron of drones armed with net guns now. Roto drones with net guns.
Alright, I duplicated the hero, which ended up duplicating everything. Lovely. That's because these vehicles are under a hero character that I haven't established anything about, because I've just been using them as a way to make vehicles. So now I'm going to delete that character. Delete,
Deleted, gone, removed from...
Unnamed hero number 2. Goodbye. We never wanted you here, so I guess I just have to add a new vehicle under the unnamed hero.
Yes, Plateau of Lang. This is Hero Lab, yeah. When we do the Gamemasters workshop, we usually end up doing stuff in Hero Lab to build drones in this case, but characters often. And we make those Hero Lab files available for you guys watching, and so you can reap the rewards.
Okay, so I've got this new Bumblebee, and the weapon that we're adding is a net gun. And since it's a heavy weapon mount that it comes with, we might as well get the XL net gun, right?
Might as well.
And we're going to customize this net gun with a Smart Link system. That's a way we're going to get. That's one of the ways we're going to get the dice pool up for this drone for shooting nets at runners that are trying to get away. So there I've got. Oops, I accidentally added 2 of them. We're going to go into the matrix area here, and that's where I can upgrade the pilot rating of this thing. We're going to go to pilot rating of... Yeah, pilot rating of 5 would be 10 grand extra per drone. That seems pretty steep. I think we better stick with pilot rating 4. It just doesn't seem any... I don't know. They probably want to field a bunch of these for not a terribly large amount of money.
Yeah, it seems like they would get shot. So...
Yeah, so pilot rating of 4. That lets us load 2 auto softs up to a rating 4. We're going to skip the maneuvering one altogether, so it's just going to have 4 dice to roll for its own piloting tests. So they might be a little bit clumsy, they might crash into things, but that's going to be all in good fun. But that's going to give us room for the targeting auto soft. That's going to be rating 4 for the net gun. So that'll give it 8 dice so far, pilot rating of 4 plus auto soft of 4. But we also added that Smart Link system, and we'll use the other program slot, AutoSoft slot, to run SmartSoft. So that works like a Smart Link, and it's going to give it 2 more dice to shoot with. Nuts, what was this weapon called? The SA Rotarius XL net gun. So I have to pick that from the drop down here. SM, Shiwase. Here we go. But now I've got it properly loaded into Hero Lab. And we have some big nets that can be launched for pretty quickly. So that's fun, but I think someone else had brought up the idea of a drone for fire suppression.
Yes.
So what chassis do you think we ought to use for that?
Well, it's interesting. I I like flying drones, but how much fire suppression can you really pack into a flying drone? Yeah, it's
I think we'll have to make up a piece of gear that is like a drone-mounted fire suppression system, right?
yeah.
It would have different chemicals it can spray and a reservoir for it.
Yeah, you could have isn't there a water cannon? Do you think that would be like you could repurpose it, so to speak, and use that as to sort of like substitute in terms of building? How big are water cannons? How much do they take up?
I'm looking for water cannons in the weapon list, and I'm not coming up with one. I'm trying to. Can anyone remember where water cannons have been referenced? I want to say maybe a vehicle in Rigor 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're a thing.
I remember in 3rd edition, at least, when they had like the Ares Roadmaster, there were several variants of it. There was the City Master that was the armored version that had more guns, like just had some gun stuff built into it. And then there was another variation that had a water cannon built in.
I'm sure it's there. While you look for it, I'm gonna jump up for a second, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm just drawing different keywords in Control F on Rigor 5 here, but I'm not finding something that references one. So one of the drone ideas that comes to mind that might be good for fire suppression is which is the one that is it the Sundowner that can essentially do a strafing run and deliver. It's kind of designed for crop dusting kind of stuff, but also works great for spraying a crowd with Narcoject. I'm hoping I can remember the name. I think that with a fire suppression type delivery system instead might work well.
Did we decide with something else? I'm back now.
I'm doing some brainstorming. I haven't found anything about the water cannon, so I think we're back to just making something up ourselves.
Sounds good to me.
And we can do that because we're GMs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it makes sense for it to exist in the world, you don't need someone to give you permission to do it. Unless, of course, you're writing an official product. In that case, you're a freelance writer, and it goes beyond the scope of what we're doing here.
Yeah. This isn't freelance writing workshop. Yeah, Plateau of Light says that there are no water cannons in 5e so far as he knows. And I don't know, I feel like I saw it somewhere, but I obviously I'm mistaken because we can't find it.
Well, what about the Pratt and Whitney Sundowner? It's a low-speed aircraft used to spray fields, or for skywriting, or for spraying crowds with drugs to make them calm.
Yeah, that sounds good. You know, it could be a fixed-wing aircraft drone that is for fire suppression.
Yeah, instead of the chemical spray being used for drug deliveries or Miracle Grow or whatever, it's going to have fire suppression chemicals.
Yeah.
That's actually really quick and easy. So I'm going to add that one in and switch to it just to over where it says gear, it says aerial chemical sprayer. I'm going to click on the edit this gear, and I actually changed the name. So aerial fire suppression sprayer. And that way when we look at the sheet, it looks, we don't have to think as much about what that system is being used for, or worry about adding even anything else in. The thing only has a pilot rating of 2, it's not great, but it's really just going to fly around and, you know, dump stuff on fire, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it would make sense to up the pilot rating a bit, though, to just make it less likely to crash into things.
And less likely to dump fire suppressant on, you know, like a school playground.
Sure. I mean, it's only 3,200 new yen to go to a pilot rating of 4, and this is a 10,000 new yen drone already.
This is also the type of drone that I could see being a little bit more expensive. It's probably less likely to be shot at. It's not really, like, you know, like it's just trying to put out fires, you know?
Sure, so we're going to give it maneuvering auto soft of 4. So it's going to be have 8 dice to fly. And then for another program, we're going to give it, I think, clear sight. Clear sight is the auto soft you want to give drones that are going to be able to spot things and look for stuff. It's the perception skill for drones. So by upgrading the pilot rating to 4, we give it a much greater maneuverability and a much better capability to notice and identify what it's supposed to dump fire suppression chemicals onto and what it's not supposed to.
Ooh, that child looks like it's on fire.
Nope, just red hair. Or okay. So we've got our initial response drones. A nice group of them. We've got the flash fire that is designed to show up and just start blasting an area with flash bangs to pacify the situation. Dr. Night Knight to come out and stabilize all these civilians that have been rendered unconscious and are potentially dying as a result of flashbang overuse. And then we also have the other bumblebees, which we didn't give a name to, that have the net guns to blast any of the runners that are still trying to get away after the flashbangs go off. What should we call the bumblebees that are modified to have net guns big enough to hopefully drop a troll?
Big game hunters.
Well, we have armor that's already named that, so...
Yeah, you're right. Let's see.
I like that.
Go ahead.
I like the concept of the big game hunter, though. If we can think of something that...
I have no idea.
Nobody's saving us from the chat either, so I'm going to have to come up with some sort of big, goofy name. How about... Oh. No, I got nothing. What's this?
Net runners, Togashi Jack says.
The run netters?
Run netters.
That's a bit of a... see, slap trap?
Honey pots after the trap. Let's see. I don't know, man. There's no good net puns.
What about something like gift wrap?
There you go. Or the dog catcher.
Yeah, there we go. It's a dog
I came up with
catcher.
one.
Awesome. Dog catcher it is. Gift wrap is amusing as well. Okay, for the Sundowner, the fire suppression drone, we have to give that one a name. It's a more advanced system, upgraded mostly with its software and pilot upgrade. And it's really good at dumping stuff on things that are on fire that you don't want to be on fire.
Yeah, the put it out.
No. Something else.
I edge on coming up with the last one. So.
Net and forget. I like that one too.
Yeah, that was a good one.
aerial net trappers ant. So this is the aerial fire extinguisher.
AFE.
What's that?
The AFE. AFE. Aerial fire extinguisher. Let's see.
Let's just call it fire ant, because it's one of those things that like someone in the boardroom came up with that just didn't make sense, but it got stuck on there anyway. It's a fire suppression drone, but it's called the fire ant, and someone was like aerial, I don't know, someone was stuck on that idea, some sort of acronym that never really quite went through. It's called the fire ant, and no one knows quite why, except for us, and the answer is because we felt like it.
Yeah. You ever see things that are named like...
Ooh, Rain Cloud. That's even better. I'm sorry. We're going with that one.
Rain Cloud. That is a good one.
That's actually a good My Little Pony name. Sorry, I've been thinking about My Little Pony a lot lately and watching lots of My Little Pony episodes because I have not watched all or even close to all of the My Little Pony episodes. Like, I've seen most of season 1, I think.
Yeah, we've got ponies on the brain for upcoming this Friday. Our Tales of Equestria one-shot. Do a little plug here in the middle of our show. We're going to be doing the new My Little Pony tabletop RPG, Tales of Equestria, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're doing it on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch. Come and help us out, and if you like that sort of thing, even if you don't, you should check it out because it's going to be us, and we're going to be having fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. The ponies will not have miniguns, no, Eric.
He's been asking that for, I think, more than a week, and I have deliberately been ignoring the question.
Well,
not because I'm trying to be mean or anything, but I just like messing with Eric.
Well, yeah, what we've decided is it's not going to be like a Shadowrun My Little Pony crossover kind of thing. We're just doing My Little Pony for My Little Pony in that setting, and kind of just try to stay true to that and let that be its own thing.
Yeah. So if that puts you off quite a bit, then it's not going to be the show for you. But we are saying My Little Pony theme. So, but you should come check it out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun anyway.
Yes,
but
Rainbow Smite saying super duper excited because she is also playing with us.
Yep, she is.
Fallout Equestria, that does sound like a good idea for a different special. We'll see how this first My Little Pony one goes, but we're talking about drones and vehicles here in Shadowrun, so maybe we should move back to that.
If you want more info on the My Little Pony thing, head over to the Shadowcasters Network Facebook page. I've put several posts out there about that. You can get more information there.
Okay, so we've got our group of drones that are designed to put out fires, give people medical care, and render people unconscious and catch them with nets. That should hopefully be enough to slow them down or stop any minor threats and slow down any more major threats until high threat response can show up and deal with the situation.
I love that. That's our first responder team, drone team.
Great, I love it. And these are all drones that are designed to run autonomously, so they're running on their own dog brains and the software that they're loaded into their chassis. They are set in different strategic points around the city that has a particularly high security rating, so that if something happens, they're able to respond very quickly, almost immediately.
Yeah. Now here's the cool thing, guys, because you're listening and you're going to have access to the link where we're going to put these Hero Lab files. And I know people don't all use Hero Lab, but we use Hero Lab. We've got our reasons. Most of them litigious reasons. But if you do have it and you have the info, these are going to be great things that you can just pull off and use in your games just as stock drones that you can throw out whenever these kinds of situations happen. So,
yep, I'll be sharing the Hero Lab file via a Google Drive link. So anyone who's watching will get that link at the end of this and be able to use that.
Last episode we made a Nemesis that was pretty cool, and it was in Hero Lab, and one of our viewers converted it to Chummer and posted a link in the YouTube video that's posted on our YouTube channel. So
nice.
Maybe somebody in here will do the same thing for these drones. Who knows? You guys are an awesome bunch of community, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Yep. We've been asked to do that before, and of course we We are nervous about doing that ourselves for copyright reasons, but what any random person does on the internet and posts a link to is not really our concern.
Exactly.
And that said, Catalyst really does not have a history of going after people who are fans of their stuff and are, enthusing about it. So, yes, Toxic Blood Mage was fun. Toxic Blood Pony, maybe we will have to find a cure for Equestria.
We don't know what's going to happen. We just know it's about finding a cure in Equestria. Maybe it is curing a toxic blood pony. Who knows? You should show up and find out.
Right. Yeah, Joe Russell is the GM, so if you're a fan of Relative Dimension, and you should be, because he does cool stuff, and also has the most complete that I know of a list of both Shadowrun podcasts that are out there, as well as a list of tons of Shadowrun-related films or movies. So, I don't have a link for that handy, but if you just Google Relative Dimension, it should be easy enough to find. So, moving on. What else should we make? We got a great first responder drone team. Shall we move on to a vehicle of some kind instead?
Earlier, somebody wanted us to make an aircraft carrier, but I don't know if that's within.
Oh my gosh.
Possibilities.
I actually did stat up a big nuclear submarine.
Oh wow!
For a run that I did, but I don't want to say any more because that will be spoilers. It's for the Arcology actual play, and they've only very recently finished up that run.
Let's see, is that a T Git?
But
style spider tank? What is that? I'm not familiar with if that's a reference to something.
Ghost in the Shell. Oh, what are they called? That starts with a T. All I'm thinking is Tamagotchi, and I know that's not right. Tachikoma, yes. They're kind of like Steel Lynxes, but I think they're bigger than Steel Lynxes from Ghost in the Shell. I love those, though, and they got the cute little voices. Make me feel so bad when they get gunned down by big nasty robots.
Hey, Sky of Screens has a fun topical idea. It is December after all. He says there's that dumb Barrens Santa idea we've been kicking around, a sleigh with tank treads drawn by motorcycles.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start with that. Bobby?
I think he gave us a place to start. You start with a tank, and there's motorcycles in front of it.
Okay, let's see what we can do on this. I'm going to accept this challenge.
A sleigh with tank treads, rather. So yeah, this is a challenge. We got to do it in an hour. Let's see.
So what do we have for tanks?
Yeah, you look up options for a sleigh with tank treads. Plateau of Lang asks, am I planning on running anything now that complex action is ending? Not at the moment. I'm kind of embroiled in a lot of Shadowcasters network stuff since it's still the early days of the network. I'm still getting things off the ground and everything. But I do absolutely have the desire to produce something, and no concrete plans, but ideas turning around in my head to produce something in the future that would be even better, hopefully, than what I did before. So.
Okay, so I've got an Ares Roadmaster here. I'm going to use that as the chassis because it's a big-ass vehicle with lots of armor.
Yes.
And on the screen, you can see vehicle mods. There's like PT 0 of 18, PR 0 of 18, WP 0 of 18. What that means is those are all the different categories of modifications that we can do. And because this vehicle has a body of 18, we have 18 slots to put in each of them. PT, I think, stands for Powertrain.
Whoa. I don't even know what that is.
So as far as powertrain modifications, I think there's a way to do, there's like secondary propulsion, right? Tracked. That's going to take up 6 slots. And so now I've added that. And now we have a tracked Roadmaster.
Excellent.
We have lots of slots open. I want to see if there's a way I can make these windows appear.
There is no easy way to do it.
Oh, hey, here we go.
wait.
The Hero Lab menu lets me do that. So when I do pop that up, it will show up. Now you all should be able to see this.
Turns out I was wrong. There is an easy way to do it.
I had already kind of done it in advance, but it was for a different menu. I wasn't sure if it would work for the same one. So we've got this vehicle then that has... we've used up 6 of the available slots for Powertrain. With the secondary propulsion tract, you can see here it's grayed out. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I don't think it's showing up.
Let's see. So what do we have to try to get on a Barrens Santa sleigh? So the tracks we've taken care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tank treads. Does this have does this vehicle have like a port in the top? Because I imagine you've got to have a Santa sitting, at least halfway out of the top.
Okay, so let's move through the different sections here. Under the protection modifications, we have a pool of 18 points for that. That's for adding additional armor, passenger protection system, any of the special armor modifications if we want to give fire resistance or non-conductivity. And then the weapon modifications is where we add things like drone racks and weapon mounts and a couple of other things.
Hey, Ria Pal gave us threw some bits at us. Thanks, pal.
Thank you.
Cheers to you as well. I am drinking a Sam Adams Winter Lager.
Nice.
Because it's close to winter after all.
I'm drinking a New Glarus Moon Man because I like them, even though an IPA isn't really I don't really think of that as a good winter beer. It's what I have on hand, and it's good. So extra entry and exit points under body modifications. That's where we can add our kind of top mount big old hatch for Santa to pop out and gun down the oncoming hordes.
Yes, absolutely. So when I was growing up, I don't know if this is just like something that fire departments do everywhere, but when I was growing up, I think on Christmas Day, there would be a fire truck that would go around with a Santa Claus, and he would throw out candy to kids that were on the side of the street, just like candy for everyone. Did you ever experience that?
Yeah, they do similar stuff with the parades in our town here.
So what if there was a candy firing cannon on top of this thing? I love it.
So a candy cannon, That could have all sorts of implications in Shadowrun beyond the normal thing.
Yeah, if it's in the Barrens, it could be shooting beetles.
Now, I had noticed down here under body modifications, there is one called Workshop. We have to add that in just because.
Exactly, Santa.
Even though it's a sleigh. And it says
the sleigh right there.
Workshop, specify details. Santas.
He's delivering toys. One of them could break. You gotta take care of that,
Okay. Back to the modifications here.
Marta says K10 for everyone. Flashbangs for everyone. That's right.
So, what kind of weapon mount do we need for the candy cannon? Is that a heavy weapon mount?
I mean, all it needs to be is one of those. All I care is that it's swiveling, and it can
right.
be
Let's do a standard weapon mount, and you have to customize those. And unfortunately, that screen isn't coming up here. I'm going to give it flexibility, and yes, that's really what it's called.
Flexible flexibility. No kind of flexibility, in my opinion.
And an ammo bin to store all that candy. Let's give it a couple ammo bins. We don't have to worry about concealed visibility.
You have to have a couple of ammo bins, right? Because you have to have like different things in each one. You got to load it up, and you're driving into the ganger territory. So time to load up as Riapel says in the chat, loaded up with some Novicoke and Psyche.
Yeah, I imagine this gun being some sort of cobbled together thing like that weapon you use. I forget what it's called now in Fallout. You can launch things like whatever debris you can have. Kill people with teddy bears.
The junk jet.
Yes. So it's kind of like a junk jet, but so it can launch like actual candy or beetles or these different little packets with various different drugs or whatever, depending on whatever Santa feels like doing at the particular moment.
Yeah, I'm proud that I thought of it before the chat told me.
Yep.
Because I haven't played Fallout 4, or is it 4?
Isn't 3 as well?
Anyway, I haven't played in a long time.
So we got plenty of slots available to do more stuff with this. We've used up some of the weapons slots for the candy cannon. We got the tracked propulsion on it. I have a workshop built in.
Yeah. There need to be Santa's elves are going to be accompanying him and providing defense. So there needs to be like ports on the side in case gangers ride up on him, because Santa is a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, gun ports are weapon modification. They only take up 1 slot each, and allows people to shoot handheld weapons at targets outside the vehicle while still being completely protected by the vehicle's armor.
Well, we need him. His little Santa's little helpers are going to be in there defending
Let's
the
do
sleigh.
like 6 of them then. There's plenty of room in the sleigh for at least 6 gun elves.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So bonus, guys, not only are we making this fun little thing here, but we're also giving you the of a Shadowrun that you can send your team after if you need to.
All right, I think we're going to put a vehicle tag eraser so it can kind of pulse every few minutes and erase all tags that get stuck to it. So now we can track it as easily. I think we're going to have to go with the years out modification.
At the North Pole, you can't be tracking Santa back to the North Pole. No way.
Years out is just basically like a vehicle modification for when you want to spend extra money to make your vehicle look crazy cool in some weird way. It gives you bonuses to social tests in situations where it might apply. There might be penalties in situations where it would be a penalty as well, but we'll do a rating for years out on this thing.
Yeah, because this is going to have like a bunch of Christmas lights on it, and not the like fancy LED kind either. These are going to be the big fat ones with big fat bulbs and
years out. Into the details, I'm writing holiday style. All right.
Tinsel and garland everywhere.
Improved economy, I think, is important because Santa's got to get around a lot.
I like a Skype screen says Santa Claus, the best hooder runner you've never seen.
A multi-fuel engine, so it's kind of like the Mr. Fusion in not quite, but yeah, kind of like the Mr. Fusion in Back to the Future. You just kind of shove all kinds of stuff into it and let it run.
Oh,
I think that fits. Candy canes, chopped up reindeer bits.
Here's a wild question, and the answer is probably no. But is there a way to get this thing to fly?
Well, we could add secondary propulsion rotor. No game master in their right mind would allow it.
But no game master in their right mind is putting this into their game anyway. So
unfortunately, I'm going 4 over on Powertrain, though. Is there something I can remove to make room for that I just frivolously added in? Oh, wait, there's the rocket booster!
Ooh.
Extreme Modification installs a high-powered rocket propulsion system to allow the vehicle to make short jumps over intervening terrain or obstacles. We have to do that. I think that better than the rotor one.
Yeah, no, that is a must. Absolutely.
Okay. It's in red because it's above availability 12, so unless you take the right quality, you can't start with this as a starting character, I'm afraid. So I'm going to take off. Afraid we're going to have to lose the multi-fuel engine to make room for the rocket booster.
I think it's worth it.
That makes me a little bit sad, but... Oh, no, Hero Lab's locking up on me a little bit. Uh-oh. I haven't been saving as I've been going either. This might not be a good thing. All right. We'll let Hero Lab chill out and see if it doesn't crash. But yeah, this has been fun so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the holiday direction this has taken. You see, I always have Christmas lights up in the background. Um, I even have. My wife had some leftover these little she modified a wreath that was going to be hung on the door with she bought a 6-pack of these little like LED fairy lights, strings of them, and she gave me the leftovers to do something with because I like for decorating in my background, and I couldn't think of anything to do, so I made a holiday hat. So I've got Christmas lights on my head. There you go. Sky Screen says, if we're doing this like the direct posting, we had the idea of being pulled by 9 motorcycles with only the front having a working headlight. I like that idea.
All right, so something got messed up strangely in how it's showing up on OBS for the menu here.
That's funny.
But I at least got Hero Lab back working.
It's good we didn't lose it.
Okay. I don't know how to make this thing work properly, though. To show the other menu.
Well, as long as we have, we can always talk about it. As long as we have as long as Hero Lab is working, and we're not gonna have to remake it for the file that people can retrieve later.
Oh, you know what I should do? I should probably save the project.
Do it. If you're able to save it, maybe saving and restarting Hero Lab will help.
No, here we go. Save the project. Well, thank you, Sky Screens. Wow.
For the bits, for taking the idea too far for Hero Lab. Hero Lab can't handle Barrens Santa, that's for sure.
All right, I'm calling the Hero Lab files Santa's Sleigh and Response Drones.
Yes.
Okay, so in the powertrain here, let's see if it lets me delete the multi-fuel engine. Yes. All right, excellent. So I'm going to see if I can re-add this source now. Am I doing a window capture? Is that the right one, Bobby, or is it a display capture?
A window capture will capture just Hero Lab. A display capture will capture your entire screen, revealing to us all of the illicit images on your computer that are currently open.
Well, this time it just opened up another Hero Lab window. I don't know how to make it do the other one, so we'll have to do without, I'm afraid. We'll just have to talk about them. Sorry about that. It was working so nicely before. Now, other things we can do on this. This is an Ares Roadmaster. We have used up 11 out of the available 18 weapon slots. I think I'm going to add a modification here for drone rack. We can fit a lot of drone rack in 7 weapon slots. We haven't actually added any weapons to this, but we have 6 gun ports that elves can fire guns out of, and then the exit port on the top that Santa can always use whatever weapon he wants.
The junk jet, the candy jet.
Oh yeah, we do have that as well.
I think my mom might be drunk. She's texting me, telling me, "Have I told you I loved you lately?" Just kidding. My mom is just being nice.
So let's do a large drone rack that can land a drone. It only takes up 5 slots and gives us an option to load all sorts of different potential drones onto.
Yeah. Santa's going to have a bunch of little tiny drones to carry gifts into people's homes, Like that's how Santa accomplishes the gift giving all in one night. He has an army of drones.
And I'm thinking the micro drone rack for 2 more slots can hold up to 10 micro drones, so Santa can have all sorts of different drones to go out and keep an eye on things that are going on around and make sure he knows who's being naughty and nice.
Oh yeah, surveillance is. I imagine that Santa has top of the line surveillance.
Yeah. So for the micro drones, I think we're going to pick the flying eye because that's particularly appropriate. I think, and we'll make them offensive flying eyes. Why not? We have 10 of them. And no, those are mini drones. I can't do. We need micro drones. Well, there's the noise skeeto, which is kind of banned, I think. But we can do the equivalent of the noise skeeto instead of doing the ridiculous penalty for everyone. Instead, they play Christmas music.
Oh yeah, I love it. Blaring Christmas music constantly. All the like best current and past like pop Christmas songs too, like all the orc-exploitation Christmas music and like all troll bands and heavy metal.
I know. Now Hero Lab added like 10 entries for the noise skeeto. There's so many of them. I wish I hadn't done that. Oh well, there they are. And the other drone we're going to add in is what other drone should we do?
Is there a good drone for gift delivery?
There is. There's the one that can deliver stuff as well as kidnap people. What is it called? It was a cargo drone?
I have no idea. I'm not sure about the drone that can kidnap people.
The Pelican. Thank you, Eric.
Ah.
Yeah, it can deliver a drug to someone and kidnap them, but they're also great for delivering packages and pizza and whatnot.
Pizza drone.
Yep. It's a small flying drone. We have a large drone rack, but Santa can put other drones in at different times as well. So we'll add that one in. We're not going to bother customizing those drones. We'll move on to... Gosh, anything else? We have the rocket booster. We have the tracks. We have all the gun ports. We have the workshop. The Years Out holiday style. The extra exit point for the hatch on top. Drone launchers. Or drone racks.
Is there another way we can think of to creatively deliver holiday cheer to the Barrens?
Well, we haven't used up any of the electrical slots. Electromagnetic modifications.
Well, let's see. What are let's look at electromagnetic.
It's mostly things like sensor enhancement or retrans unit satellite links, pilot upgrade.
Well, of course there need to be satellite links.
Okay, satellite link.
Yeah, he's got to have constant reliable communication with headquarters back in the North Pole.
Sure, and a retrans unit to help with drones. Why not? I don't think we would necessarily want grid link.
Nuh-uh. He takes his... no. Grid Guide's not going to get him packages delivered all in one night.
We could always throw in electronic countermeasures rating 6 to befuddle the people who want to follow him back to the North Pole or wherever his safe house is.
Do we have room for electromagnetic shielding? We don't want people trying to disable his sleigh.
All right, we'll add that in as well. So there's part of the sleigh is like a Faraday cage.
Yeah.
It can't be for the whole thing because the gun ports would break that up, I think. But we got an area that's electromagnetically shielded as well.
Probably that's his comlink is, because he's in constant communication. Nobody needs to be tracing that call back to the North Pole.
Right. Let's
see. So how much of the electron? It seems like there's not a lot of electric stuff.
Yeah, I was hoping to be more fun there. We can always upgrade the pilot or sensors, but at that point we're just sort of adding stuff just to add things.
Yeah. Sensor enhancements. What other modification slots do we have to think about? Yeah, that's right. Sky means Barrens Santa gets no help from Grid Guide.
All right, so yeah, we have sensors of 6, electronic countermeasures of 6, just because we have some room in the body modifications and the protection modifications yet. Protection.
Well, the Sky of Screens, I cannot resist a good pun. He says peppermint punch.
Sure, well, we can put that in the junk jet if we need to.
Yeah, fair point.
Just stick a handful of pepper punch grenades and activate them, and then launch them out. Launch them out the junk jet. It's nice and versatile that way.
That's true.
So protection stuff is mainly stuff like armor, passenger protection system, anti-theft.
Well, clearly he'll need anti-theft.
Yes. And then the body modifications, what have we got in there? Chameleon coating. Ejection seats. Okay, we got to have an ejection seat for Santa. Why not? Electrochromatic coating, I think, makes more sense than chameleon coating, because it can be nice and festive that way.
That's true. That's true. I like the idea that he uses the ejection seat to launch himself onto the roof of the houses.
Right. Let's see. Extreme environment modification. We need to have that because it can go lots of different places.
Smuggler's compartment is
yes.
suggested by Flame Darkfire.
We'll add we'll add a couple of those, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Some of the kids on the naughty nice list have requested maybe some contraband, and
right.
if he gets stopped,
What? Santa has a rocket booster. Getting stopped is not. Rocket booster, half a dozen elves armed with heavy weapons, able to shoot out of gun ports. The junk jet that can, yeah.
I feel like Knight Errant just lets Santa have a pass on Christmas Eve.
I think so too. I think with that we've pretty well finished out the Santa's sleigh here. Yeah, man. We've definitely gone above budget and availability for starting character, certainly on this. But it's the GM's workshop, so we don't have to be limited by such things.
Yeah. So your job, chat room, is to if you get access to this, if you have Hero Lab, take this. Even if you don't have Hero Lab, go back and listen again and build it up yourselves. Your job is to, by the end of December, to run your game, to have Santa and his sleigh in one of your runs this month. This is going to be a great holiday themed run. I love it.
Well, it's going to be a holiday themed run. I'm not sure what great.
I think any holiday themed run is great. Obviously, Santa's protection drone is called Krampus. Big Character says. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I want to see what those letters stand for in the acronym, though.
That's what I'm going to say. Bonus points if you can tell me what all that acronym stands for. So we still have like 30 minutes left. Is there anything else that we want to build, or are we just chatting with the chat at this point?
No, we designed a big-ass weird vehicle and a bunch of drones. There's plenty of possibilities for different kinds of vehicles we might do. Someone was suggesting the motorcycles that pull the sleigh. Obviously, this sleigh doesn't need to be pulled by anything, but I could see having a bunch of people on motorcycles kind of running up ahead in an escort formation that might seem like they're pulling the sleigh. So shall we make up a badass Go-Ganger motorcycle to go with this?
Let's do it. We've got time. While you're pulling up the base motorcycle, Amarda has made a Christmas song for Santa, charging through the snow on a fire-belching sleigh. Over fools he rolls, laughing all the way. Ha
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 ha.
ha.
I love it.
All right, so what motorcycle should we use as our chassis? Oh, someone said Flame Dark Fire said Nightmares. There is the Harley Davidson Nightmare. It's kind of expensive. Doesn't have any standard equipment, but it's fast and already has relatively decent armor for a motorcycle. Seems like a good one to start with. Body of 8 gives us lots of modification slots. So, yes, Eric the Mage, there was a Futurama episode with the evil Santa.
You're right about that. Yes. That was a really good. I think that was a recurring character, wasn't it? Every Christmas, or at least after it started. I feel like it was on there more than once. Here we go. Captain Arg says Kringle Recon Assistance Maintenance Protection and Utility System. Krampus.
Nice. We'll have to design Krampus then, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Recon Kringles. Make it Kringles, as in like it's his. Recon Assistance Maintenance Protection and Utility System. I like it. Sky of Screens. I agree. 10 out of 10.
Definitely. I'm trying to figure out if there was a way to delete all these extra noise squeedos. Noise skeetos? Aye. But if I delete a hero... Oh, delete allies. Delete all allies? Delete multiple? Okay, let's see. I may not delete the only hero in the portfolio. Alright. Never mind. Limitation of Hero Lab, I'm afraid. So instead of the Pelican then... Well, the Pelican is one option, but I think we'll have to make Krampus. That will go into the large drone launching slot. But let's go with the Harley-Davidson Nightmares, which are the motorcycles that are piloted by the Go-Gangers that escort Santa.
What kind of customization do these things need?
Well, I think we should go under protection first and add some armor or something.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, the purpose of these guys is, of course, like you said, it's not pulling anything. I think they're providing a massive escort.
Right.
And yes, of course, Flame Dark Fire, they will, all 8 of them, be named individually. Or there should be 9, actually. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and Rudolph.
So if we use up all 8 of the available slots, we can add 4 points of standard armor to these. We don't care that the armor looks like armor. It makes them look more badass.
Yeah. Prevention and deterrence is the best defense.
So I think we're going to need some sort of a weapon mount on this. We have 8 slots. I think that lets us put in a pretty good sized weapon. Yeah, we can fit a heavy weapon mount for four slots.
Yeah. Flamethrowers for clearing snowbanks.
Yeah, we got to go with flamethrowers, right?
Yeah. At least Rudolph needs flamethrowers.
All right, we're going to customize a heavy weapon mount with the modification of...
I do like that. Sky Screen says ramming plate styled like deer horns.
Flexibility. And an ammo bin for plenty of fuel for it.
Yeah. Silent Identity says, I have no idea what's going on, but Rudolph should shoot fire out his nose. We are designing a vehicle for Santa, the Barrens Santa, his tank treaded sleigh, and the 9 motorcycles that named after the reindeer that accompany him on Christmas Eve through the Barrens in Seattle.
And I
Flame
clicked the wrong
or
button.
Yeah.
I clicked the wrong button and it ended up deleting my progress instead of actually adding the thing.
That's not a helpful button.
There we go.
Don't click that button.
Yay, it's been added. The weapon mount. Then that's going to have a flamethrower.
Would you like to add a weapon mount or delete everything you've done so far?
All right, so we've got the armor, we've got the weapon mount. What other things can we add onto this? Obviously, we're going to want run flat tires.
Oh, for sure. Flame Darkfire asks, flamethrower, or yes, do heavy slots allow medium machine guns or heavy machine guns? I believe they do allow heavy machine guns.
Yes. Even missile launchers.
I think heavy slots are as big as they get, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, these bikes are not big enough to add the rocket booster modification.
Oh man, wouldn't it be awesome? Just an awesome image. Rocket boostering over like a ravine or something.
Mm-hmm. So, however, there's a gliding system that deploys a large-scale parachute and uses small thrusters to provide limited maneuverability while descending. So if they go off really badass ramps.
Yeah, launching over things.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, they need to make an escape or something. They can jump off of like a tall parking garage.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So we've added the gliding system for normal vehicle, and we've got 3 points left in the powertrain. We're just going to go with improved economy, so they don't have to stop for fuel. See, we used up all the protection slots on more armor. We've used up most of the weapon slots already. I do like the idea of the ram plate.
Yeah,
mentioned.
Definitely. Silent identity, no worries. Santa's sleigh proper definitely has rocket boosters. It can do that. It's just unfortunately his reindeer are going to have to, if the situation calls for it, they're going to have to hold down the fort and so that he can make an escape or jet forward. But Santa definitely has rocket boosters. We got you there.
I think we're going to give these motorcycles ejection seats just because, and electrochromatic coating so they can look festive as well.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Realistic features as well. So we have 5 more slots in body, so we'll do a rating for realistic features to give them more of a reindeer-like look to them. That's extra creepy.
No doubt.
And then the electromagnetic modifications. We'll do retrans units for the motorcycle so they can hook up with Santa's drones over longer distances. And I think that's probably enough for these motorcycles. They seem pretty badass already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the weapons, we've got the flamethrower, right?
Of course.
And let's see, the Shiawase Blazer. That's a good flamethrower. What I'm going to do on this sheet is add a couple of other weapons that might be on some of the other ones. Oh yes, Lord K, I'm sorry, I did forget to put yours out on these things. That is a vital modification, far more important than even the flamethrower. Yes, yours out. Rating 4, which is the most. Yours out in holiday style. Okay. So other weapons we're going to add.
Ares Archon for Rudolph. What is an Ares Archon? Are you familiar with that?
It's a laser.
Oh gosh.
Yes, I think so. The Ares Archon is for Rudolph.
Yeah, that is a must.
It's a heavy vehicle laser. Base damage 10p, AP minus 10. I love it.
Man.
And we have the Shiawase Blazer for flamethrower for one, maybe. Let's do one more gun. One of the... Yes, it is the biggest laser. You are right. Flame Dark Fire. What other sort of goofy, strange gun could we put in? We've got the flamethrower for up close and nasty and for clearing snowbanks. Then we've got the laser for taking out direct targets.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything. Part of me thinks of like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you gotta have at least all the bikes should probably have just like a standard kind of, machine gun.
Well, we've only got room for one heavy weapon per bike, though.
Okay. So what room do we have left?
Not really any other room left for weapons. I think we used up all the slots.
All right.
Let me double check that. Yeah, we used up all the weapon slots. The ram plate plus the flexible heavy weapon mount pretty much took care of what we had open for weapon slots. So any other small arms fire is going to be dependent on whatever the riders are carrying.
Which they will be carrying.
Right.
But we're designing vehicles and drones tonight, not NPCs.
Right. Yeah, Flame Dark Fire. The gangers all have smart guns or alphas. Yeah, I'm picturing like Ingram smart guns, or Ares Alpha. Yeah, Ares Alphas are always fun too because you get the grenade launcher as well as the assault rifle fun, and they both use the same skill, so why not? I think the smart guns are their sidearms and the Ares Alphas are their main rifles when they're not firing the laser or flamethrower mounted on their motorcycles.
Yep. We have 20 minutes left. So in addition to what we're going to be doing else, if you guys have questions for us, they don't necessarily even have to be related to this silly fun thing that we're doing. If you have just general questions about drones and vehicles, or even just general GMing questions, feel free. We like to do Q&A just in general for GMs and whatnot. So feel free to ask us. I'm going to step away for just a second. I apologize. I'll be right back.
And as Bobby's stepping away, I added a third weapon option, which is a ballista missile launcher. It can have up to 4 missiles on there. And yes, we did mount a flamethrower on the bike. So in the weapons section, I actually just put 3 different weapons that you can pick from, instead of doing 3 different variants of the motorcycle. Under the text for the weapon mount in the vehicle, I'm going to write pick one from weapon list. There we go. So the other thing we need to do is design... Flame Dark Fire. Yes, I will. When I'm done with this, before the stream ends, I'm going to post a Google Drive link to the Hero Lab file for this. We aren't doing the Chummer 5 files because we're using Hero Lab. There's copyright reasons why we're doing it that way. I'm kind of paranoid about that stuff, so...
Yeah, it could. We don't. As small of a chance as it might be, we still don't want to put ourselves in that line of fire. Plateau of Lang, did we mount a flamethrower on the bike? Yes, the bikes have flamethrowers. So I'm going to add one more vehicle on here for the night. We'll finish the night by doing a special drone customization that will be the Krampus large drone that can launch from Santa's sleigh, which is, of course, the heavily modified tracked Roadmaster with rocket boosters and gun ports. Yes, the Kringle Recon Assistance Maintenance Protection and Utility System.
So I need to find something to use as an initial chassis for this thing under large drones.
Well, let's see.
There's the Dassault janitorial drone. The body of 10. There's plenty of room to put things in there.
That does sound like maintenance, assistance, and utility.
The Steel Lynx combat drone, of course, is very versatile, and it comes with lots of armor.
I feel like if it's designed for combat, I feel like combat is covered everywhere else.
Right. Yeah, and the Steel Lynx is like, it's an obvious choice, right? A great choice, certainly, but
Yeah, no doubt.
we're being silly, so let's do something weird.
Or really over the top.
And Big Cave Monsters. Is Hero Lab worth investing in? You have to buy a bunch of modules. Yes, it's expensive.
So my take on that is, at this point in the life cycle of 5th edition, I feel like it's not worth it.
If you're starting from the beginning, man, that is a big monetary investment. Yes.
Yeah, because if you're doing it, you're gonna feel like you want at least a good chunk of the source books, because the way Hero Lab works is you buy the license for Hero Lab, but then that gives you access to material from the core book, and you have to buy, I think it's $10 per extra book that gets added on when Hero Lab people get it in there. It's easier if you're just going along with it, so it doesn't feel like such a big deal. But when at this point in the life cycle of 5th edition, it's a pretty big investment to try to get all of that caught up from the start. But not considering the costs, I do think Hero Lab is, if you had started from the beginning, Hero Lab is amazingly worth it, I think, over Chummer. Chummer's great, don't get me wrong. I used Chummer for a really long time. One of my favorite things about Hero Lab is the fact that that they have the license, and so they can put the rules in tooltips without any worry about it. You can just,
yeah, the text is all there.
yeah, you find a spell or a item or a vehicle or something like that, and you just mouse over it in the even attributes. In the interface, you just mouse over it, and you have a tooltip that pops up that tells you most of everything you need to know about that, and even gives you page references. And I know Chummer gives you page references, and Chummer's great. I'm not trying to down Chummer, especially for being free. There's a lot of people who've put a lot of great work into making that a really awesome character generator.
All right, so we've got, I decided to maybe play around with the Crash Cart Metacart. It might make sense. It's a large drone that can provide medical assistance and go grab people who need medical care. That kind of makes sense if someone wipes out on one of the motorcycles and didn't die from it, maybe.
Yeah, and Santa's spreading good cheer, and maybe he sees somebody hurt on the street. Although he's got gifts to deliver, so he's probably prioritizing his helpers.
Sure, it's got hydraulic rescue tools built in. We do have 2 modification slots besides the gear that it has automatically. So I think, what can we put in this oddball thing? A spotlight doesn't even take up anything.
Then do it.
So let a spotlight.
Yeah. You guys help us out. What kind of modifications does Krampus, the Kringle's Recon Assistance Maintenance Protection and Utility System drone that Santa carries around with him in his sleigh? A net launcher to kidnap naughty people?
I don't think this is really a kidnapping drone so much. Well, it could be. Can we fit a net launcher? Drone weapon mount, large. That takes up 4 slots. We only have 2 open. We can only do up to a small weapon mount. Like up to a machine pistol or if a heavy pistol. A mechanical arm. those are handy.
Yeah.
I was kind of leaning towards that as well. Eric the Mage was saying taser. But, you know, it really, as Bobby was saying, we don't need combat capabilities on this thing. We have all those elves with guns for that.
Yeah, I do think, you know, again, it was named, I will say it again, the Kringle Recon Assistance Maintenance Protection and Utility System. I feel like this is like a support drone, you know. It's helping Santa do all the things, extra stuff. He's got at least 6 little helpers inside the sleigh attacking people through gun ports, and 9 people on bikes with flamethrowers and lasers.
All right, so how about this? I just added in gecko grips so it can go up walls and stuff, and a drone arm so it can pick things up, and it can even carry a gun if it needs to.
There you go.
It can run up to 2 auto softs, each at up to rating 4. So I think we need to give it the skill set 1 for first aid, obviously. What other autosoft skills should we give the Krampus system?
You know, one thing to think about is could this drone be helping Santa to get into buildings and homes more easily if he needs a way to get in? You know, maybe there's a...
Oh, good. So we're going to give it a skill set for... What is all this weird drop-down stuff? Let's ignore that, I'm afraid. So we have 2 skill sets. One at rating... They're both at rating 4. One is going to be for first aid. And one is going to be for... Lockpick? Locksmithing?
Yeah, man.
Sounds good. I like the idea of a Krampus with a missile launcher as well, but I think we're running out of time. So yeah, it's got a little satchel on it that has lock picks and auto pickers. I'm just going to put that in the gear here. Add new gear. An auto picker rating 6.
Eric said fire retardant. Those chimney breach ops.
Right. Besides auto picker, let's see. There's the pass key, which we can only do up to rating 4. And we have a locksmithing toolkit. Between those things and the autosoft and it having an actual like arm with fingers and stuff like that, it can get through most locks. Oh, one more thing. It would need its satchel. Anyone who needs to get through something and is having too much trouble with the lock knows that it's always a good idea to carry around a mini welder. Damage level of 25 when being used to cut through barriers.
Absolutely. That's another way to get into a place to deliver presents if need be.
I'm going to save this file and upload it to Google Drive here. And there is, of course, a character called Unnamed Hero that has like no interesting stats whatsoever. That person is essentially a container for all of these vehicles. Yeah. Feel free to make up your own Santa in its place if you have Hero Lab.
I have to say it's an at-home exercise making that Untitled Hero Santa.
Actually, we'd love it if you would make up your own Santa in Hero Lab or Chummer 5. That is the pilot or driver of this strange sleigh. And I have to rename the Ares Roadmaster. Santa's sleigh.
Yeah, make up a Santa for us and send it to us.
Yeah. Oh no, now it's not responding again. Oh good. I will save it and we'll exit. Okay. Well, that was fun. It kind of took an unexpected turn, I would say. Barrens Santa was not the.
It's fun. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no idea we would do something like that tonight, but the chat, as always, bringing the gold, letting us, giving us the opportunity to do something amazing. Thank you guys so much. That was fun, Christmas themed GM workshop. It turned out.
Yeah, it's fun to see so many people show up for this too. It's been a fun idea for us to do, and we really enjoy doing it. So it's good to see that
Yeah,
you
exactly.
enjoy having us do
It's
it.
nice. People are actually showing up because, you know, if people don't show up, then what's the point?
Then we do something else with our time and do some other show ideas. So yeah,
exactly.
it's definitely been fun doing these GM's workshops. I think we'll be continuing it at least for the next month or two, and see how things go. We're not running.
Ideas.
Yeah, I'm not running short of ideas. But that said, I would really love to use someone else's ideas besides just the ones I threw out there.
So what you can do is go to the Shadowcasters Network website, shadowcasters.network/contact. There is a contact form there. I'm probably going to make some changes to that soon to make it so that maybe you can select a show or something on a drop-down list, and it'll go to a more efficient place. But right now, I will get those emails if you about anything. Just put in the subject line or something like that it's about Gamemasters Workshop ideas or something like that. And give us what do you want to see us do? Remember, the point of the Gamemasters Workshop is not only for tips and tricks for GMs and everything, because we do like to talk about our ideas and what we do when we run our games, but it's also to interact with you guys, to work with you guys, to do the down and dirty nitty gritty work of GMing, not just the philosophical theoretical ideas, but the actual work. Like, how do we actually do it?
All right, I'm going into the chat here, and I am pasting in the Drive link to access and view not just tonight's file, but the files from our previous GM workshop events. So that is the...
Yeah, some people asked, what about Discord? You can definitely send me or Mr. Johnson message in Discord, with some of your ideas, and I'll try to remember to add them to a list. I'm just being 100% honest when I say that because of the nature of I am a little bit, at least a little bit more likely to get it to a list somewhere if it's in an email. But having said that, I guess if you private message me in Discord, it's not going to be it won't be lost very easily, so you could always do that, and I'll try to get it on a list as well. So I am Complex Action Bobby on Discord, and I'm listed as one of the show hosts, so I'm usually at the top of the list. For those who might not know, we have a Shadowcasters Network Discord. Go to shadowcasters.network/discord for the invite link, and you just pop right in there and join the fun. There's so many people in there now.
I'm having some weird technical difficulty with your camera image. It was freezing, and now it's disappeared.
That's all right.
I wish there was an undo in OBS.
Yeah. That is one of the tough things about OBS. There's no undo. We have over 1,200 people in our Shadowcasters Network Discord now. 1,200 members.
Wow.
So consistently over 400 people online at any given time. So we it's been really successful and fun over there. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't get Bobby's picture back for some reason. And considering we have like 4 minutes left, I'm not going to worry about it too much, I'm afraid.
It's all right. My vanity will survive. I will be okay. It has been fun. Does anybody have any last second questions? You can always ask those. We have a couple minutes left, but other than that, I guess we won't have another Christmas theme before, because it will be Christmas before for those who celebrate Christmas. It'll be after December. Next one we'll do is in January. So
where can you get our Discord channel link? I think it's right there on our Shadowcasters Network website.
Yeah, I will type in, let's see, shadowcasters.network/Discord. Why didn't that hyperlink? I don't know, but shadowcasters.network/Discord. I'm double checking to make sure that that link still works. Yeah, it's there. There's a big old blue Shadowrun-y looking Discord logo, and I just double posted it to see if it would hyperlink, but it didn't.
Yep, so, still not a link. Oh well.
But there it is. Yeah, click on that. It'll get you in there.
Yay! Awesome. And definitely keep an eye out on the other stuff we're doing. As we mentioned, this Thursday is Head Cases, where we're playing the Shadowrun Chronicles Boston Lockdown multiplayer game with myself and Bobby and Damien and Opti.
Yeah, that is a load of fun. We just act like a bunch of fools in there and play. We're playing through the Shadowrun Chronicles Boston Lockdown, like Mr. Johnson just said. So
our goal is to go through every mission twice, once with astounding failure and another one with bare success. It's
less of a goal and more of an ability. Because of our ineptitude at that game. I do blame, since he's not here to defend himself, I do blame Opti because he always wants to loot everything in the room. So,
no, yeah. Vox isn't doing the game with us. She doesn't like being on the camera any more than she has to. So,
she's always with everything we do in spirit, though.
Yeah. So
fun. You can fun post with the rest of us. What does that mean? Make even dumber ideas. The Barrens Santa. Oh yeah.
So we talked about Thursday Head Cases, Friday, of course, A Cure for Equestria, the My Little Pony role-playing game, our one-shot actual play special, run by Joe Russell of Relative Dimension, and it there's all sorts of. But Bobby has just made some amazing art for our pony characters.
Yeah,
just sort of decided to pick up a pony drawing skill. He's poured a lot of karma points into that recently.
I'm so used to drawing stick figures, and then one day I've always thought it would be fun to get into cartooning and illustrating and stuff like that. But I'd never had like the motivation to do it. You know what I mean? And
yeah, you've been super motivated about this My Little Pony thing.
Yes. Well, I think it's a great show. So, and I thought it
is. I like it too.
I think it's a nice change of pace from what we do on the network. So I think it would be just a really fun thing that we could do, and so I encourage everyone to go.
Let's see, if Fox doesn't want to be on camera, would she be okay with a static image instead of a face cam? Perhaps. I guess we kind of feel like we have to show up on camera if we're going to be doing the Twitch stuff, but...
Yeah, it all depends on the context of the show. So it's not... She's been on stuff before, so it's not like you there's never a chance to hang out with Vox here.
Yes, most recently the Join the Anarchy penultimate season finale, which I played with her as well in that, and they have their cast party coming up this upcoming Monday, I believe. Or is it a different Monday?
Yes, it is. It's on the 11th. So this coming Monday is the Join the Anarchy cast party. If you're a fan of Join the Anarchy and you've been following along, then you should absolutely be there at the cast party if you can make it. They're going to be talking about everything that happened in this very eventful year of Join the Anarchy, and maybe even talking about what might be coming in the future. So.
Yep, and we have, I believe we've published our December stream schedule. We did that a few days ago yet, so.
Yep, shadowcasters.com/schedule. Also, if you're watching live, it's, of course, there's a link. I don't think I updated the image now that you mentioned that. I messed that up. But the schedule that says November right now for those watching live, if you click on that, it'll take you to the December schedule because it's linked to the schedule page on our website.
And if this works, oh, it does. I have to resize it a little bit.
There you go.
It still looks kind of funky.
But you can see it's there. The schedule for December. Got lots of stuff coming up. I'm really proud of the amount of stuff we've been doing for you guys lately, and hopefully
yeah, the Twitch channel has been a lot of fun. I've toyed with the idea of doing Twitch stuff before the Shadowcasters Network stuff ever came up, but it's so intimidating as a single, just one person or a pair of people just doing stuff. Having the Shadowcasters Network available makes the ability to throw out shows like this a lot more possible, and we can come up with different fun experiments to try that kind of go beyond, I guess, our initial roots, which is the whole Shadowrun thing. Though we certainly orbit well within that most of the time.
That's what we know, so we often gravitate towards it, but we are very interested in branching out into other stuff. Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's all we got for tonight. Thank you all so much for showing up and helping us make some crazy, fun, weird, cool stuff.
Yep.
I hope you inflict some of it on your players.
Oh yeah. And like you said, send us at the shadowcasters.network/contact. Send us your ideas for future Game Master workshop things that we could do, and also make up those Santa NPCs that would be this sleigh, and send them to me as well. If you want, you can send it to Bobby at shadowcasters.network if you want to send the files over to me. That would be great. Maybe I'll share them with somebody somehow.
All right, well, good night, everybody.
Good night.